emails from viewers, and I've seen on Twitter lots of people lamenting the performance of the banks. How do you view it?
I think we are seeing a little bit of profit taking, especially by fund managers. It's been a fantastic run for the banks in 2013, where we have seen the big four banks gaining between 20 to 45%. Commonwealth Bank has been one of the star performers. It's been reaching all-time record highs. That's up around about 20%. And on the other side of the scale, NAB has been outperforming. It's up a massive 45%. So I think we are seeing a little bit of money coming off the table. Also, it looks like Gail Kelly has been selling some of her shares as well after that Westpac results, so selling about $12 million worth of shares. So it does look like a bit of selling coming in. It is the fourth consecutive day of selling for those banks. But on the flip side, the energy, the materials, the industrial, the property sectors, all these areas outperform. So the fact that the banks are such a big part of the ASX 200 index means that we did see the market underperforming. I think the other thing to be really watching out for are the iron ore miners. They've continued to impress, and we did also see a 52-week high coming through from Murchison Metals, and AGM season still having a big impact. We saw skilled engineering up a massive 6.7% after comments from its annual general meeting, and we also saw Buru Energy up by 3.6%. And of course, the other thing we were watching were the business confidence numbers. We saw a very sharp decline in the month of October, and that's quite concerning. So in September, we saw a read of 12 points. That was down back to 5 points in October. Tomorrow, the consumer confidence numbers are going to be watched very closely, and this may have quite a big impact on some of the cyclical areas of the market. And we did see consumer discretionary taking a step back.
Holdings, because it does have that diversified exposure, but it's still forecasting that 30 to 40% overall underlying profit drop.
Absolutely. If you have a look at Seven Holdings, it holds not only the WestTrac business over in WA as well as New South Wales, ACT, and the distribution in parts of China, but then it also has National Hire, which owns about 43% of the Coates Hire business as well, which is once again exposure to that mining sector as well as the construction area. And then finally, it's got that holding in Seven West Media as well. But if you have a look at the share price, it very firmly tracks its Caterpillar or its WestTrac business, and in this business it has been a difficult one. We have seen the sales of capital sales, so new products, actually declining. We've also seen the sales of spare parts as well as consumables declining, and we know the catch cry in that mining space has been cost cutting. So we're seeing delays to things like maintenance and rebuilding activity, and that's impacting on business as well. So I think that's the key reason why we have seen this downgrade. Seven Holdings coming out to say that it expects to be on the lower end of guidance, which is for a decline of earnings before interest and tax of between 30 to 40%. So a very significant decline there. Also announced 630 job cuts. That's on top of the 375 job cuts that we saw earlier on in the year, and not surprising that we've seen the share price down 1.6%.
Well, we seem not to have Juliet Lee's audio.
The biggest division is the news and information technology, and that includes the Australian newspapers, and that's really what the biggest drag on this profit is. In fact, if you didn't have the Fox Sports, the new investment that that News Corp made in that particular cable television network, then you wouldn't have seen a profit this quarter. So the return on this quarter is all on the back of its non-newspaper businesses. So the newspaper businesses still a drag. We did see the news plus information technology revenue actually down by about 10%. This is the largest division. So the fact that they are back to profit is simply because of the non-newspaper businesses. So that tells you a lot about the challenges that News Corp faces at the moment.